Okay, prosperity mindset. I have a 2-page note that I wrote myself to talk about today's concept of sharing and prosperity mindset. And one of the things that I really love about our time together is it is meaningful. And thank you for being here. And every time that you're going to take the 8 to 16 minutes to hang out with me, it is it's so it's kind of standing up for what matters to you. And you're also taking those minutes for yourself to be able to have a little reflection, a little love up, right? Because I'm going to put my arms around you and go, hi, hi, and talk about something that is perhaps going to help you and me. Because the lessons that I'm telling you are the same ones I have to learn. So when people ask me about prosperity mindset, I'm like, look, the reason that I'm teaching it all the time is because it's really hard to take what it takes to really think about what's in your mind and how you think about stuff and improve it, and it's effort. It's effort. So, and sometimes just this little 15-minute or whatever it's going to be conversation will help you reframe a whole bunch of stuff. Oh, and then it all goes better. That's me bending into this because I'm trying to see if it works. So we have a new thing here. I'm trying to upgrade. And if you're noticing how clear I am right now, just so you know, Susan sent in this thing. So you can thank Susan for sending me a better camera because she couldn't stand it. Trust that the universe is here for you, right? So today I'm going to talk about sharing, and the biggest share dilemma that people have, and this is across the board, where you go, I'll meet you halfway, or it's 50-50. And I go, no, that's not 50-50. Sharing is not 50-50. Sharing is 100-100. So if I'm going to meet you, I'm going to come in 100% of me, and I expect you to come in 100% towards me. And so a lot of times just getting that reflected of, are you, the expectation isn't that you're coming in 50% in a positive, loving, healthy, trusted relationship, that you're coming in 100%. If you are not coming in at 100%, you're rationing. You are what is a prosperity breaking behavior, right? You can tell if you're all in, right? That I think that's actually why people are very, because I am a bright light. I mean, you know I'm here because I'm 100% in. And so I think one of the things when people talk about me, when they know me or are in my life, is they talk about my energy. And I go, well, that's because I'm 100, that I'm in. I'm in on you. I'm in on what we're doing. I'm in on the creative process. I'm in. As opposed to I'm half in, right? I'm going to meet you halfway. That is how many times. So on sharing, the first thing I remind people to do is just take a look at how many times you're only coming halfway in. You're just dipping a toe. You're just portioning out something. Sharing is not rationing. That's the biggest piece that I remind people about is if you've ever had to like break a cookie in half. And one of the things that we did in our family, that I did because I'm, you know, I had children that fought with each other. I had children that didn't like sharing. They don't like sharing. They want it all. And so we put in this rule very early on that if you are going to share something and you break it in half, the other person gets to pick their half first. And that makes it so that you won't just give them the smaller piece, right? The other person gets to pick their half. And what is interesting about that model is sometimes you don't want the big half. Sometimes you want the small half. So, and yes, that's not half and half, but when you break something, it's just that way. So giving them the opportunity to pick their half, it means I'm okay, you're okay, right? We all get to we get to have that. We're going to split it, we're going to share it, and then here's the two halves, lopsided or not, and the other person gets to pick. And that way everyone's happy. You had the chance to clink it and they had a chance to pick. So it is bestowing, right? So that model in prosperity mindset is bestowing. So when I'm sharing, I'm bestowing something on someone. It's an award or a gift, right? I'm equipping them. So when you think about sharing and prosperity mindset and how are you going to think about sharing in your life, is I tell everyone to take in journaling, we call this when you have both sides of the paper, right? This side and this side. This right here is called a 2-page spread. So I encourage everyone to take a 2-page spread and just put it on sharing, because it's worth identifying what kind of sharing you like to do, what was shared with you, what are you sharing. That a lot of times, for those of you who come to class, I will go back in and look at your Facebook feed and look at what you're sharing. And very few people edit their shares. So when they put it in Facebook, it's like one way thing, or Instagram or whatever. And some of that stuff's not relevant anymore, right? I mean, Happy Thanksgiving from 2017, do you need that? They don't actually edit out. So part of sharing is to go, what are you sharing and when? When is that for you? The reason I record these videos for you is that way you can share it when you're ready. You get to have that when you're ready. I don't have to decide when you're ready to hear about sharing. You get to. But I encourage you to take that 2-page spread, right? It's not just worth one, it's worth both, right? Give yourself a large journaling topic and really look at the ways that you are actively engaging in sharing. So sometimes, and I'm looking at my little notes here, but sometimes that's around community, right? What are you bringing to your community? What are you bringing to your family? What are you sharing? What parts of you are you willing? And the way that I kind of call that is by spade or by spoon, right? So like sometimes and spade is a shovel. So, right, when you look at that, are you giving somebody a shovel full of something, or are you giving them just a little spoonful? And that is really sometimes when we go, why is this not working for me? Because if you're annoyed that you don't have a supportive, loving, healthy community around you that is doing stuff, I just go, well, have you been dishing out by spade or spoon? And are you giving just a spoonful of yourself to the world? Yeah. Sometimes you're being reflected what you give, right? We give what we get. We give what we get. And the world will reflect back to you, but you don't always recognize that that's the reflection. The reflection is that you're not really understanding what sharing is. And sharing I live in the United States, sharing in this culture is very awkward. I have to say, I think it's changing, but we have to really decide, what are you in on? What are you going to bring 100% of you to? Even if it's only a spoonful, that spoonful is watered down, right? That I'm only going to give half of myself and I'm only going to give a spoonful of it. Now you see why people feel absolutely starved. They are emotionally starved. They are spiritually starved. They are starved in so many ways because of sharing. And that ability of something to be divided in its purest form it is a contribution. And when you look at what your contributions are, a lot of people won't put in until somebody else puts in. And that's around giver's gain, which I do not believe in. And that when you are looking at your contribution, it's also sharing is also that I'm having a stake in something. Sharing is that I'm willing to spread something, that I'm lending, that I'm trusting, that, right? Sharing is divvying something up. Sometimes sharing is me looking around and going, oh my gosh, I don't, I have 100 books here. I'm not reading any of them, right? Let me award them to someone else. Let me gift them to someone else. Let me equip someone with those tools. And one of the things that when you look at sharing as equipping, I'm going to use the things that I'm not using and I'm going to share them because I want to equip someone else with them. Most of the time, when people have extra stuff, they're like, I'm just going to run it over to Goodwill because I just want to be rid of it. That's not sharing. That's not sharing. That's purging. That's not purging. And when you're sharing, you're not rationing. So a lot of times when people are packing stuff to go, right? I'm going to send this to the homeless shelter. They're giving the worst of their stuff. They're giving stuff that's broken, stuff that is not wearable. They're giving just junk. Oh, you know what? I didn't know where this went to. So I'm just going to put in this can. I'm just going to put this can in this thing. No. Is this equipping someone else? Is this something that you can give guilt-free? Guilt-free. And a lot of times people will go, oh, this is too nice for me to give away. But are you using it? Are you willing to share? Are you right, attached to the things that you have? And if you're attached to them, that's totally fine. But don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted, because sharing is an opportunity and it is a prosperity mindset. It is to say, I am not going to ration the things that I give. So like a lot of times people won't give some homeless person that's standing on the street corner that they don't actually trust that that person is homeless, and they don't trust that this is whatever. And we were in the car and we mixed our families. So my husband had children, I had children. And he had seen me giving money to somebody out my window. And he said to me, and we were dating, and he goes, I have never done that. And I said, why wouldn't you share? And like at that time, he made so much more money than I did. Like the amount that he spent on his lunches every day, I remember adding it up and going, just to let you know, the amount that because he would buy me lunch every day because we worked in the same building. And the amount that he would just go out and get lunch, because I only had a 30-minute lunch. And so he would go out and get it because he was self-employed. He had all the time and he had piles of money, right? So he would just go out and get a nice lunch for us, a nice lunch, because it didn't mean as much to him. And I added it up. And I was like, I just need you to know, one, I'm so thankful for that. And he bought more lunch than I could eat. So my assistant at the time, Brandon, he would get to eat the other half of my lunch. He would just wait because he knew I would never be able to finish my lunch, that he would get a free lunch out of it. And I'm like, here you go. Absolutely, right? Give it freely. And Brandon would be like, hey, Mark, thanks so much for bringing lunch, because I get one too. And he's like, do you want me to bring you a lunch? And he's like, no, Mickey can't ever finish her lunch. So she needs me. She needs me. And okay, great. So he would give it guiltless, right? Here, have some great lunch. And when we think about sharing, right, that I don't have to judge someone else's sharing. So I said to him, I don't understand why you're not giving money out the window. Like, do you not trust? Like, why would it be? And at that time he was probably 44 or 45. I said, how is it that in 45 years you never were willing to put not one of your dollars out to someone who's standing in the street saying with a sign, I need some money? And it was around trust. that it wasn't actually for him around sharing, it was around trust. Well, I don't know what they're going to do with that. And I said, well, what are the chances that that's real? And at the time, it was the cold of winter. I said, what would make someone stand outside? And it was, like no degrees. What would make someone stand outside for whatever amount of time and with a sign and ask for money? Do you think that is there a chance that they're actually needing the money that you would give to add up for a hotel room or to buy a hot lunch? Is there a chance? Okay, fast forward now 6 more months. Now we got it. Because I'm working with homeless all the time. And my son worked with homeless all the time too. So he also knows that some of them have, what there's a million reasons why someone's out on the corner and a million reasons I don't need to know, but I have to know what my rules are. What is my sharing about? And so he was in the car with one of his daughters 6 months later now. And he just said to her, he goes, grab my wallet. He saw that there was someone standing there. He goes, grab my wallet and pull out a 20. And she was like, I want that 20. And so, out comes this 20. And he's like, yeah, I'll get another one. Here's 20. And he hands the 20, a 20. And she watched the exchange. And then she said, why are you giving that person $20? And he looks at her and he says, well, I'm just going to go on the trust that that person might actually find benefit out of that $20 that's greater than the benefit that you want or that we need. That $20 doesn't mean anything to us, but it's going to mean a lot to that person today. And I guarantee you there's nobody else today that's putting a 20 in that person's hand. And she just went, oh, okay. And it was a lesson, right? About sharing, around sharing and community. And what are we there, right? Is it a plateful? Is it a parcel, right? Is it a spoon? Is it a spade? Am I rationing? That $20 never changed our lives. But that moment of that exchange of watching her father, who had never shared in community that way, share. And so there's this mutual understanding that you have. And so if just one more person gave one more dollar, when those people are standing there, sometimes it could make a difference. And are they going to use it for drugs? Sometimes. I don't care. I did what I felt was right in my sharing. And that was 100% of the time, if I'm going to throw a dollar out the door, I'm not going to ration it because I don't trust their rules. And so when you're thinking about sharing, a lot of times, again, two-page spread, right? Think about, what is the sharing that you're willing to do? What are you sharing? What are you not sharing? What are you not sharing? A lot of people are not sharing their truth. A lot of people are going around and telling you, I'm fine. I'm fine. That is the greatest lie. That is the greatest lie. And I live in the Midwest, so it means something else too. So I'm fine. No, they won't tell anyone. They're not going to share. When you look around, the people around you who do not give personal information, check yourself. Check yourself. Check the people around you, because there's a trust dilemma. And whether it be they don't trust that you're not going to use that against them, so they're not going to share. So there's not a mutual understanding that's there. A lot of times I will remind people in our conversation that this is private. This is just for us. That I am sharing this with you. I'm not sharing it with everyone that you know. that what are they permitted? Sharing is also sometimes around a permission. Permission. What is there? And so when you're thinking about what is your contribution, right? I mean, very rarely do I have 2 pages to write. And here's the lesson that I have to give you. Sharing is a tool to prosperity that expands, not limits. So when you're looking at sharing, it is a tool to expand, not to limit. And the biggest thing that I want you to go away with today is exactly where I started. 50-50 is not what you're looking for. So again, my offer today is 2-page spread. Take some time, go through, put it in your prosperity work, and really think about sharing for yourself and how you're doing it, why you're doing it, when you're not doing it, why you don't do it. That one of the reasons that I share my life, that I share my struggles, the reason that I share, not overshare, but I will share with a commitment. Can my story or the craziness that happens in my life or my inner dialogue help someone else not suffer? Not suffer. Sometimes someone is standing there with the same problems that you have internally, and they are suffering because they are harboring it. They're not sharing. They're not sharing. They're not opening up. But by you opening up, they will open up. My niece had come in one day, and we were living in the cottage, and she was so radiant and beautiful. And I just couldn't believe it. And I said, what is it about you? What has happened since the last time I saw you? You look positively breathtaking. And she just burst into tears. And she said, I told someone my truth, and they didn't leave me. And she had, she was young. She was first year in college, first boyfriend, first apartment. And she was not sharing a truth. She shared it with her boyfriend, and he didn't leave her. He grabbed her in her arms and just said, me too. Me too. I have the same truth. But he hadn't shared it. And then about 2 hours go by. One of my kids in the other room goes, I have that same truth. And I went, oh my gosh. Okay. Well, let's get to work on that. And so sometimes when you share your truth, right? Prosperity, sharing is the ability to expand. Prosperity is an expansion piece. But by each of those people sharing their truth in a way that wasn't harmful, right? It wasn't a trauma response. It was saying, this is something that I struggle with. And now other people can go, oh, I struggle with that too. And now it's available. Now it's available for us to share, to commingle, and that we can pull together and now perhaps find some new solutions, some new ways to get through this, some new understanding of each other. So if you are not sharing, very much of you, what you are doing is you're hoarding, right? You're siphoning out. And if you want a prosperous life and you want it to all come in, be delicious, it can't get in the little hole you siphoned to the world. It doesn't fit in. So if you want more, you have to give more. If you want the world to reflect back to you something different, you need to take an assessment of what it is that you are giving. What are you sharing? What are you putting out there? And that spoon or spade, right? A spade is a shovelful, and a spoon is a spoon. But some of you are watering down even that spoon. You're giving a half truth. You're like, I'll give this tiny bit, right? Keeping it close to the vest. Might not work so well. If you want things to expand, you have to be willing to be expanded. And I'll tell you another thing about that situation, about my niece telling her truth to her boyfriend telling his truth, and then someone just hearing it, right? And then out of all of those people, all this other stuff came for all these other people. Sometimes sharing our truth actually helps us see our own truth differently. That I can see my truth didn't hurt. By me telling my truth, it didn't hurt you. And therefore, maybe it won't hurt me. So there's a whole bunch that's in there about sharing. So I would give yourself some time, and a time for me is like 30 minutes, and I would just start expanding, right? Mindful isolation. Stand there and really look at, why is it important for you to share? And what are you sharing and what are you not sharing? Okay, I'm going to put my arms around you. Thank you for sharing your time with me. Every time you show up, oh, I have something going on with my lipstick today. Uh, every time you show up, I am glad to see you. It is important. I am proud of the fact that you are taking even a moment of time to think about sharing, to think about prosperity, to be willing to do the hard work. And it is hard work, but is rewarding. And it will make every reverberation in your life go a lot better. So thanks for showing up for you. Have a great day. Bye.